Get some more analysis now with Rami Khouri. He's a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut, and he joins us live from Boston. So, Rami, your thoughts on this ceasefire, and do you think it's going to hold?
Oh, I think it'll hold because everybody wants it to work. Everybody needs a break, and nobody is achieving their goals. And the U.S. as the external partner in the genocide with Israel, Biden desperately needs something good news coming out of there. He couldn't get it out of Gaza, so the ceasefire in Lebanon helps him a little bit. Yeah, I think it'll hold. I think there might be some dangers of accidentally or somebody provoking an incident to spark the fighting again. But I think if that happens, there will be immense pressure to prevent it from expanding. The trick is to make it something more permanent. You know, they've done ceasefires like this 2 or 3 times in the last 25 years. I experienced it in 2006 when there was a war, and now it's happening again. So how do you take the ceasefire and make it into a longer-lasting peace arrangement or coexistence arrangement that can only be done if you treat both sides equally? And we don't know yet if France and the U.S. and the other international partners involved in the monitoring mechanism, we don't know if they're going to be really impartial. Their record over the last 100 years has not been of impartiality, has been very heavily supporting whatever Israel wants to do, including in this situation now. So let's wait and see on that. But it's good news for everybody. You can see in Lebanon, especially, where the most destruction has happened, people are happy and hope for the best.
You mentioned Joe Biden. Is this a victory for his outgoing presidency?
I wouldn't call it a victory. I would call it a very low-intensity minor league face-saving measure. It's really not going to change his legacy as Genocide Joe. What he did for the last 14 months or so will be deeply engraved in history as a serious crime by the President of the United States. Remember, he went to the war room in Israel, in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, I don't know where it was. Within the first few days when Israel launched its war in October of last year, Biden sat with Netanyahu and the generals in the war room. I mean, you can't get anything more clear than that of the U.S.'s deep, serious, and lasting commitment to whatever Israel wants to do with its American arms, even a genocide. And so we should be clear about the legacy of the United States in this situation.
Now, Rami, you know, Hezbollah said that they'd only stop firing rockets into Israel if peace came to Gaza. I mean, that hasn't been achieved. So what has Hezbollah really achieved here? What have they really agreed to, and where has it left their leadership?
Hezbollah has been through situations like this several times before. Hezbollah is a resistance movement. It's not a state. It's not just a political party. It's not an NGO. It's been playing roles of all of those, but it's a resistance movement first and foremost. And what it did is resist, and it resisted the most powerful military combination in the world, Israel and the United States, which had unleashed the most devastating and gruesome genocide in modern history outside the Holocaust. And it resisted, and it kept fighting, and it took some huge hits. The pagers explosions, and then killing a lot of their leaders, hitting some of their ammunition dumps and things like that. It really was damaged in certain areas, but it kept on fighting. It regrouped quickly. It put into action its plans that had always been made for a situation just like this. And they showed that they were really a serious resistance movement and that they would keep fighting till the last man if they had to, as would the Israelis. And so this is what Hezbollah feels it has achieved. It has forced Israel into a ceasefire without Israel achieving its main goals of trying to knock out Hezbollah's capabilities, killing its leaders, and doing all kinds of things to make it a passive force. It completely failed to do that. And therefore, Hezbollah and many of its supporters see this as a victory for Hezbollah, as they did in 2006, to force the Israelis to come and accept a truce. That serves both sides equally, more or less. In some areas it doesn't, but more or less. So that's seen as a victory, but it's a very costly victory. The price Hezbollah paid, the price Lebanon paid, the price that international law and human rights laws paid for Israel's total disregard for that process. It's a heavy cost. So we shouldn't see these as victories or losses. We should see these as very hard lessons on the road to both the Lebanese and the Israelis and the Americans waking up and realizing that this is not going to be solved militarily.
Indeed, and it's a heavy cost that the people of Gaza are paying. Rami Khouri, thank you for your analysis on the programme tonight.